Peace and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. So today, here's what we got on the lineup. Let's talk about the latest with Brittney Griner at the WNBA basketball star. It had appeared in a hearing today to talk about what amount or what was the actual substance in her luggage. Another hearing is scheduled for Thursday, but we'll bring you the latest around what came out of today's hearing. Also, let's talk about DeShaun Watson. He had a 6-game suspension, and there are a number of women who are saying, "What? How is that?" We'll break down some of the how the decision was made, and so much more with his particular case. Then we check in with Dr. Courtney Alston, the happiness scholar. There was a survey done by Gallup that said that Americans aren't too happy right now. Does that sound like you? We'll talk to Dr. Alston about what that means and how we can get to a better place. Plus, I got trends posting doing the most and a whole lot more. So stay with us. That's happening on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. Peace, folks, and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of today's conversation. We got a lot to cover, so let's jump right into it. First and foremost, let's talk about the latest around Brittney Griner, folks. The WNBA basketball star, of course, is still detained in Russia and she's been there since February. Today, she had a hearing, and the hearing was about what was the actual substance. Did she have enough of this cannabis oil to violate the law? Now, according to the prosecution, she did. But according to her defense lawyer, she said that it is still undetermined. Now, as you can see there, Brittney is holding a sign of her family. And you can also see, folks, she's literally in a cage, as if she's some mass murderer. And the examination of the substance in the vape cartridges, whether they violated Russian law. Now, we want to have a conversation about this, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about what her defense team has said about this whole situation. But there will be another hearing on Thursday, and today's hearing was just the seventh hearing. There's another one on Thursday. However, if the verdict, which Brittney and her lawyer and her defense team are expecting to happen very soon, if it happens where she is found guilty, she can look at serving 10 years in prison. Now, the other element, of course, is what we shared with you last week when U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had announced that the Biden administration was working on a prisoner swap with Russia around this situation. Now, a part of that prisoner swap was Paul Whelan, an American who was charged with espionage. He was facing 16 years in the Russian prison, along with Brittney Griner, in a prisoner swap for Victor Bout, who is considered to be the merchant of death and a high-profile prisoner of the United States and a big asset for Russia. Now, it was also revealed that when Mr. Blinken had revealed that when he shared that he was looking to have a conversation with his Russian counterpart, that he also said that it's been a very long time since he spoke to Russia. Well, that has changed, folks. As of last week, Mr. Blinken had talked to Mr. Lavrov of Russia and had a conversation about this idea of this proposal. Russia did put it out there that if you do want to do a prison swap, then we're going to up the ante and we're going to ask you to bring us another high-profile asset to the table. Mr. Blinken has not shared the full details of what the conversation that he had with Mr. Lavrov, and they are still determining what the next step will be. So now I want to bring in our culture crew member, Lise Winnie, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast, to share her thoughts about this whole situation. And of course, folks, no conversation is complete without you. So make sure y'all post your thoughts as well on our YouTube page and on our Facebook page. First and foremost, good afternoon, Lise. Good to see you, sis. How you feeling today? Oh, do we got you on mute?
Oh, there we go. See, somebody has to come in and do it. Somebody has to come in and do it every week. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Looking at this whole Brittney Griner situation, I have some beliefs about how this situation can go, right? But first, let's start off with you, and then let's see if we're on the same page. What do you think, in light of this latest development with this latest today's hearing, Brittney, they trying to figure out whether she actually violated the substance that was actually packed in her bag that she said she did pack. Mm-hmm. Was it the amount of the THC actually violated the law? What do you think of that?
I think that it's definitely a good try for Brittney Griner's attorneys to try to get her home. I don't know what the outcome will actually be. This is the thing, that things that we think here are not as bad, when you take it to another country, it's not the same. So I don't know how this actually will turn out for her. I hope that it turns out well. You also have to realize that now she's high profile, and so they're going to utilize her in any way they see fit. Whereas you were talking about Victor Bout, and one of the most dangerous men on earth, the former DEA, chief of the DEA, was saying or called him. So I think that they're going to continue to use this. Whether or not this works for her in her favor, I don't know. But I think that it is definitely a good defense for Ms. Griner.
Well, here's the thing. Now you tell me if I'm wrong about this, Lisa. And because you're a realist. Out of all of my culture crew members, you always say, nope, Farajii, don't agree. And I love it. Here's the thing. Do you feel like because of how President Biden mm-hmm. has handled Russia being in Ukraine, and how, America has imposed some serious sanctions on Russia, America has galvanized its allies to lead the charge against Russia, America continues to talk hard on Russia, and now looks like it possibly is about to talk hard on Russia's ally of China. Do you think that this puts Brittney's freedom at risk? That Putin is going to say, wait a minute, hold up. Y'all talk, now you want a favor. Now you want to come and play nice. Because this happened around the same time that Russia invaded Ukraine.
Right.
Personally, I'm feeling, at least tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like President Biden might have put his foot in his mouth going too hard without securing Brittney, bringing Brittney and Paul Whelan back home first before talking hard. Now I feel like they got the United States got to double back and try to figure out the best thing to do. What's your take on that? Am I wrong in my assessment?
I kind of, in my opinion, kind of. So I don't think that being softer on Russia would have changed the outcome. Russia has never done anything that made things easier. So I don't think they would have just let Brittney home. We had 2 Americans over there for over 2 years before a lot of people even realized that they were over there. They didn't even know. I honestly think we wouldn't be talking about this if she was not a celebrity. We would not be talking about because she's in the WNBA, so it gives that leverage. So I don't agree with that. I also don't agree that he shouldn't have gone after or said or been very forceful, because it's a double-edged sword. Had he not been extremely forceful with Russia, I think people would have said he's being soft on Russia, and you would have had a lot of the same criticisms that people were saying about Trump. So I don't agree in that sense. And then also you have to realize that when you are going over, and I'm probably, a lot of people are not going to agree with me. I will say this, that if you're going over to another country, which I think that it's unfortunate that WNBA doesn't get it paid like the NBA. There's no reason why she should have had to go over there in order to play basketball. I think like in all the WNBA players, they made like, I don't know, it was like $20 million or something like that. And last year, like LeBron James made like $32 million from basketball. Like she shouldn't have had to go over there. But I will also say that you cannot, I've watched Locked Up Abroad, you can't do that. Like you cannot go over there to another country with something that is an illegal substance, especially since she said that she did in fact have it on her, or she did pack it. I wouldn't have done that at all. So I don't think that Biden's talking bad or talking about Russia or being very forceful with Russia would have changed this outcome, even if he wouldn't have been quite as forceful, in my opinion.
Look, all right, but that's why I say there's a difference of opinion. I love it. Look, I want to take a quick pause. When we come right back, let's jump to some comments very quickly as we continue to talk about Brittney Griner, bringing her back home. What do you think? Hit me up on our YouTube page right now or Facebook page. And we'd love to hear and have you as part of the conversation. Stay tuned. Moving forward, more of your comments, more of your thoughts as we have this discussion here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig? It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans to distributing $50 each or the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to the culture here on the Black Star Network. We are having a conversation at this point about the fate of Brittney Griner, the WNBA star who is currently detained in Russia. She had a hearing today in Russia to determine and to examine the level of THC that was a part of that cannabis oil that she had packed that got her into this situation. And so it will be another hearing scheduled for this Thursday. And her lawyers have gone on record to say that they are expecting a verdict to return pretty soon. And the lawyer also said that Brittney is nervous. Now, folks, I've been talking to Culture Crew member Lise Winnie, host of the Millennials Anonymous podcast, giving us her thoughts on this situation, saying that, no, even though the United States is having some escalating tensions between Russia, it won't matter. And I'm saying because of the Ukraine situation, it may not still determine how things go. I think Putin is petty. Let's bring back Lise. Let's bring her back. Lise, Putin is petty.
Yeah.
And he petty. So since he is petty, and if you know your favorite president, Donald Trump, is just joking. That's not Lisa's favorite president.
Yeah, let's not start that.
But we know how he rolls. So I'm concerned. With all due seriousness, I'm just very concerned the United States stance and its current relationship with Russia as it relates to this war and how it's going to play on this prisoner swap. So let's get to some of the so many people have been checking in, and I want to hear from you. All right, let's pull up some comments here. Who we got first here? I think I saw Brother King Lee. I'm seeing Damon. I'm seeing so many people. If you could just post them on the board, bro, that would be great. And as we have this conversation, Deidre, thank you so much, Deidre. You said they treat her like she killed somebody. Facts. That's how I feel.
I will say that their rules are a little bit differently than ours. Of course,
they had her in a cage.
I know, but we can't say that it's just them. Like we do that with our own people that are drug people have been
kill people
here. So we do the same thing here.
Look, they got child killers at least sitting down at the table.
No,
I'm serious. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If you go back to those cases, Jeffrey Dahmer sat down at the table next to his lawyer and he ate people. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. They got her in a cage. Yeah. And I'm saying, now, let's put this in proper perspective. I've seen them do that in America too. I've seen them do that. So it's not that, but I'm just to go to show you, like, to Deidre's point. Okay, she had like that is a little bit too much.
Right. I agree with you that it's a lie, especially for the what she's being charged with. If it was here, we wouldn't even be doing this at all. But unfortunately, it happened over there. And I've never been in a Russian jail, but I've heard that they are quite bad.
Yeah, they don't. They definitely. There's no Hilton hotel over there. How about that? That's just... All right, let's go to our next comment, Deidre. I appreciate it. Folks are checking in. Make sure you post your thoughts. Quentin, you checked in. I love new folks. I love when we got our new viewers. Quentin Parker, you said, don't let anybody F over your luggage. Well, I agree, right? You don't leave your luggage in public spaces. I mean, we all know the procedures once you go into an airport and once you get into a hotel, especially, and if you ever if you ever traveled abroad, you definitely, I mean, it's like when we get off the plane, Lisa, they be like, American. And then it's like the wolves start to come out, right? Like people are like, yep, you're from America. Oh, right. You like this place. Nice place, huh? Nice place. So, but I agree. Don't let nobody ever handle your luggage and all that. But that wasn't the case here.
Right.
That wasn't the case here.
She packed her own luggage. She just didn't realize that it was in there.
Yeah, I think she was probably just moving too fast.
Yeah.
And if it's a situation, I mean, how many times have we done that? I'm just thinking about us personally. How many times have you just like grabbed something, not thinking about it because you're like, oh, I got to get to the airport. I got to, got to make this cab, blah, blah, blah. And you grabbing stuff. And then out of your, out of the rush and the chaos of the moment, you get to the airport. Next thing you know, you like caught up in a prison situation.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Like it happens to the best of us, but she's been going over there so like every year. I think she goes over there. So she kind of is acclimated with what they accept and what they don't accept. And unfortunately, this time it just did not work out for her. And hopefully we can get her home because it's absolutely ridiculous that she is in jail for a vape cartridge. Like, I mean, it's just really ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think the unfortunate part about it is it was, and I think if I'm not, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lise, she's actually prescribed to take medical cannabis.
Yeah, she is.
Because of the pain, and I think she had endured some, because pain and everything. So that's more part that adds to the sad part of this story that, she, if she was in the States, of course, it wouldn't have gone as far.
Well, it depends because even if, let's say, she's in Maryland, you leave Maryland and you go to West Virginia, it's not legal anymore. So you do have to be very careful about where, even if you are prescribed medical cannabis, and they tell you this once you get it, that's a part of the rules. Like this is against federal law. If you cross state lines, you could still get in trouble for having marijuana, even if it's medical. So this is something that we do have to understand that she is in Russia. Russia has different rules. Russia has a different government. It's different. And it is a crime there. And this, unfortunately, is how it folds out.
Right. Let's go to Ming Lee, Natasha Surge. Ming Lee, you said she's trying to be strong, but clearly she's not being treated right. It shows on her face every time they bring her in court. I worry about her mental state of mind. Let me tell you something, Lee. That is exactly what I have been thinking. You can tell that this situation is wearing down on Brittney Griner. It is wearing her out. And it's sad. I've looked at video, I've seen pictures of her beforehand. She's a very, you could tell, I'm not talking about her during the times of games. I'm just saying in general, you could tell she has a very lively spirit. It's like she looks worn out, Lise. Mm-hmm. And I trust and believe, like, that's why it's important for us to keep our thoughts and our prayers in our hearts. And big shout out to her family, her wife, because this whole situation is just wearing her down. Ming Lee, you are not the only one. Trust and believe. I'm glad you pointed that out because I saw that and I thought about that just this morning. And I said, man, oh man, this thing is really wearing on it. Really wearing on it.
It definitely is. And I feel my heart goes out for her to be in that situation. No one wants to be in that situation, to be
not at all.
overseas and just to be in prison, period. No one wants to be in that situation. So hopefully they can resolve. But unfortunately, like I said, it was against their rules. And when you do stuff overseas, this is just kind of the way that it goes because they know you are an American.
Right. Thank you, Ming Lee. McCall, you checked in. Are we surprised that Brittney is being treated like that in Russia? We are talking about Russia. No.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. And
Really?
here's why. Yeah. You just made the point. She goes over, she cross seas all the time. She is an international player, international star.
Mm-hmm.
She plays across seas. So they know who they have in their possession. And I'm talking about way before this moment. They've been known. That's Brittney Griner. She's a basketball player. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They know she's American. They know she's not no hip hop artist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they take you in custody and they start running your background, they know exactly who you are. They know exactly who you are.
It's possible. I don't know how big their women's basketball league is, but over here, and I saw somebody made that comment. Yes, we do not support. Number one, we do not support the WNBA here as much as we should. They're not going to be able to get paid more if they can't market. And the only way they can market is if they have views, and we need to buy their merch. We need to go to their games. That's how they will be able to get paid more. But what I will say is that a lot of people here don't know those players. So it's possible that they knew, but it's possible that they didn't. And we can't assume that they do. And overseas, when you get in trouble, you just get in trouble. So I don't know if that her stature as far as a celebrity changed it. I actually think giving more attention to it, us paying more attention to it, actually made it worse for her, because then they realized, like, oh, who do we have? And I think that actually kind of backfired.
That could be the case. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Let me take one more. Let's go to Tony Appleby. Tony, good to hear from you. Good, another new voice. Tony, you said, I want her home at the soonest. She made a big mistake. We can't blame Russia. It's her fault. If she needed medical marijuana to help with her pain, don't go to Russia. I mean, and to Tony's point, I think that we all going to have to swallow that hard pill. Like, yeah, it's your fault. And I think she had to even swallow that. You know what I mean? Like making the point that, yeah, I made a mistake. It is my fault. But should she be penalized for 10 years in prison? No. But this is not the time for us to advocate or prosecute that part of the case.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you just can't do it right now. You have to go through this process. And here's why I'm going hard on the Biden administration. If the public pressure wasn't there,
mm-hmm.
would this still have been a situation?
No, because we had two people over there and no one knew or cared, really. I mean, let me not say that. The administration knew they were over there, but even with Trump, because they were over there when Trump was in office, there wasn't this big push to get them home. So I don't think it would have, no.
The reason is because Brittney Griner is who she is on this side of the water, right? Mm-hmm. The NBA and the WNBA both are advocating for it. You know what I'm saying? And this is the sad part. This is really the sad part. If she was Brittney Griner, the American, and not Brittney Griner, the basketball star, we may not be having this conversation.
Agreed. I agree with you 1,000%.
And that's sad. Right. And that's the sad part about it. You know what I mean? Even if she played basketball in high school, I'm just saying, like, this is sad because we have to prove to our own government the value of its citizens. And that's the point I want to make. Like we still have to advocate, no, you should, because like you said, Lise, I didn't know who Paul Whelan is. You know what I mean? Like, I never heard of this man before he was brought into this conversation.
Right.
So it's like, that's
the one
the bad
just
part.
brought home, and they brought one home this year. Was it this year? This year.
I think so.
And he had been over there for 2 years. So
yeah. The other part of it is America moving forward with dealing with Russia as an adversary as it relates to this war. For 5 months, I think heat started to come on the Biden administration, or I want to say the past month, maybe month and a half.
Yeah.
Like we started talking about it, I want to say April or maybe March, somewhere around that time. So, my point is, like, she wasn't a priority. And that's the thing. And it's like now the U.S. is like, all right, we got to do something.
Yeah, the pressure is there. And unfortunately, there are people that are locked up in other countries. We as Americans, the government can't do get every single person out, especially if you are guilty of a crime. And let's not sugarcoat it. She said it, that she did pack it. So if it's against their laws there, it is against their laws there. It's very unfortunate, the situation. I hope she gets home.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Can't do that, because if the same thing happened here, you have a Russian guy who did come over here. He broke our laws and he's in jail. So
and they weren't going to release him.
Yeah.
They weren't going to release him. If it wasn't for this situation, we would not be talking about Victor Bout.
Yeah, and it's not even like when you say she.
No.
It's not even even.
The man sells like arms and ammunition, and you know what I'm saying. He's like a jackal, and I mean that the military term. He's a jackal. You know what I'm saying. He goes into countries and he arms them all up. He sets deals up for the government, for the Russian government. He's a jackal, and yeah.
right. It's not even close to.
It's like apples and refrigerators.
Right. It's not even fruit.
It's not even a fruit. Just an appliance and something else.
Right.
All right. Look, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's have a brief conversation about DeShaun Watson. The Cleveland Browns and the QB. Of course, we know that he has signed a monstrous deal with the Cleveland Browns organization. However, his legal woes continues to happen. And now, as of yesterday, he has been suspended 6 games as a result of his violation of sexual misconduct, the sexual conduct policy, personal conduct policy. So I want to have a conversation about DeShaun and what's next, because his future too is uncertain. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no! punches.
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all. I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?
Folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We wanted to have a discussion around another high-profile Black athlete, Mr. DeShaun Watson, who is the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Now, DeShaun Watson, who is a huge star in the NFL world, which has garnered him a major payday in the amount of $230 million in a guaranteed contract, as he was traded from the Houston Texans, a team he was with for a very long time, now as he plays for the Cleveland Browns. Now, that's just one part of his story, but the other part, the big part of his story, is the fact that DeShaun Watson is at the center of a controversy of men who take things too far. And as a result of that, there have been dozens of women have come forward to say that the NFL star has violated them in a sexual way. Now, that does not include rape. However, DeShaun Watson did exposed himself. He asked women to touch him in certain places, and it has created a firestorm in the NFL to the point where he is allowed to play, even though the NFL said that they were trying to push for a year-long suspension. He was just given down by the courts that he will be only suspended for 6 games. This year, the NFL teams will be playing 17 games, so he will still be present for the majority of the season. Now, this comes as in a very, very critical time, as there are big conversations happening across the country about women's rights, women's voice, and especially about sexual abuse. And so there have been a number of women, individuals, writers, and organizations, activists included, and organizations that are looking at this situation and seeing that this is another violation, that this is another way to re-victimize women. So I'm asking, and I'm so happy to have my culture crew member, Lise Winnie, with me to talk about this. I'm asking, is this a fair penalty? Does this punishment fit the violation around DeShaun Watson? What's your take on this, Lisa? And then I'm going to share some more details.
I don't think, me personally, I don't think so. But I think the NFL is in a really weird spot. They tend to have these domestic issues against women, and the NFL has not been very good on these issues and handling it with their players. So I don't think so, because when you read all of the allegations, it's pretty bad. Like, you can tell that this is a pattern of something that's been going on for a while. My biggest issue is, how is it that the teams didn't realize this was you had to have known something until this got out in the media. So I don't think this is enough.
Let me just say this, Lise. You and I both know this, right? One, and I saw reports of this. Like I said, I don't know whether it's USA Today or the New York Times that I saw this in. But the Houston Texans knew that he had this created like this setup where he would invite women, he would go online to social media, and start to solicit women, fly them out to Houston, bring them up to this apartment building or this hotel where he had, like a penthouse suite. He also had access to a massage parlor, and he would start to just bring these women in one by one, and then bring the next one in. One leaves, the next one, and create like this whole system. And essentially, the Houston Texans knew, and in some ways, some people would say that they enabled his activity. And given the fact that the NFL provide all of these high-profile players, all their players, but especially a high-profile player like DeShaun Watson, with massage therapists, like, bro, why are you doing this, right? Like, you can get a massage from an official team staff member. They actually had a massage therapy, a massage parlor, and I'm saying a legitimate massage parlor down the street from the hotel that he often used for this type of activity, where and I read this, where they literally, USA Today reported that they literally had a shuttle for all of the guests. Hey, if you want to get a massage, because this is a high price hotel. So they're like, look, you can get a massage. We'll take you there because this is one of our other businesses. I mean, he chose to do this.
Right.
He chose to create this setup and to bring these women in. Now, I want to share, go ahead, I'm sorry, and then we can go to, I want to share some decent, but yes, please.
No, I agree. I think that the Texans definitely knew something was going on, but when we're talking about sexual assault or sexual harassment, this had nothing to do with the massage. This was gratification for him. My biggest gripe with DeShaun Watson, like, you are one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. You are young and you can go out. If you want someone to do this, you can find someone who is a willing participant. Trust me, they line up at the door. If you really needed this type of thing, or if this is what you wanted. So that's why I'm saying this is not enough, because clearly there's a pattern here that I don't know is going to go away.
Now, check this out, Lise. Let's put this first quote up right now, please, Keenan, and take a look at this, folks. In this quote, this is coming out of USA Today. And one of the things that it was an op-ed was ran and said DeShaun Watson gets a laughable suspension. But one of the things that it's mentioned, that in her 16-page report, former U.S. District Judge Sue Robinson, who made the decision to suspend him only for 6 games, she did not dispute that the NFL proved its 3 arguments against the Browns quarterback DeShaun Watson and decided he clearly violated the league's personal conduct policy. The independent arbiter said Watson's conduct cast a negative light on the league and its players. She denounced him for his lack of express remorse and his tardy notice to the NFL of the first filed lawsuit, but cited his excellent reputation in his community, his status as a first-time offender, his cooperation in the investigation, and the fact that he paid restitution as mitigating factors. The other part of this, take a look at here, folks. The NFL's investigation was conducted by 2 former prosecutors with decades of experience investigating sexual assault cases. Although Mr. Watson allegedly worked with more than 60 massage therapists during the 15-month period beginning in the fall of 2019 through the winter of 2021, the NFL only investigated the claims of the 24 therapists suing Mr. Watson for damages. Of these 24 complaints, the NFL investigators were only able to interview 12. Of those 12, the NFL relied for its conclusions on the testimony of 4 therapists, and this is what the U.S. District Judge Sue Robinson wrote in her decision.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a pattern. And we cannot ignore that he clearly has a pattern of behavior that is not going to go away. Now, they said it was non-violent, and that's another reason why, the suspension was what it was. But that's not the point. The point is that this is a pattern. He has access to women if he absolutely needs a willing participant. There are women out there that would do that. The fact that he is choosing to operate this way is concerning to me. And I think that more people should be concerned about this behavior. He settled 20 of the 24 cases civilly. I don't know how many more women will come out, because what do the Browns do? He signed a 5-year, $230 million contract. What happens if this happens again? What do you do?
Look, and that 5-year, $230 million contract is guaranteed, all of it. Sometimes you see player lease, they get all right, you get the first 50 million guaranteed, or, the 100 million guaranteed. He got a deal. This is what makes this deal such a big deal. The fact that he gets all the money, whether he plays or not.
Right.
Now, the crazy part about this is, and there's so many complexities to this case, because you still have, why didn't the NFL prove its case better? I mean, you got 60. The other part of it is, why did the Cleveland Browns offer this man so much money, knowing that he could be a very big problem?
That's the part I'm trying to figure out.
Like you gave him more money than people who played last year.
Right.
DeShaun didn't play.
Right. I don't know.
At least the crazy part, you gave money to a man who literally was having legal challenges, well-publicized legal issues.
Right.
You gave him the back.
Right.
I'm really trying to understand, man. I'm trying to understand, what is the rationale? What was the thinking behind this? And then here's the third part. This is the part that I always give. And I read this some time ago, so this number could change. There are women make up, and I've seen, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, Lise, women make up nearly 50% of the fan base of the National Football League.
It might be a little lower than that, but yeah, there's a nice amount
40, of. I read about maybe 40, 46. Point is, if women still make up a decent portion of the fan base of the NFL, and the NFL has a woman problem, the NFL has a race problem and it has a woman problem, right? Quote unquote. So if that's the case, this is a slap in the face of all the women. What are you? And it's how can the NFL keep fumbling? I'm not asking the NFL to be the moral meter of these players, but certain things is bruh, you can't allow certain players to behave this type of way. And then now you got to double back. You got to look through the contract. Can we get them out the deal and all of that? I mean, it just makes no sense.
It doesn't, but the NFL doesn't have to be accountable, because are you not entertained? It's like gladiators. We will continue to support the NFL regardless if they follow up on Black issues of social justice, whether or not they allow people who commit domestic violence to continue to play and make excuses for them, sexual assault. The NFL has a big issue with all of these things, and yet we still consume it. As long as we consume it, they're not held accountable for anything. Now, like you said, they are not the moral compass of these players. These are individual decisions that they are making. However, if you have a whole system like the Texans, they knew what was going on and they turned a blind eye. You knew when you signed him to the Browns that he was coming with all of this baggage and you wanted him anyway. I get it. The AFC North is one of the toughest divisions to be in. I get it. You want to be.
We know it. Yes, we know it. We know all too well on this side.
But they want to win, and that is what this is about. It is about money and control. And at the end of the day, I don't know what we will see out of DeShaun Watson. I hope he's learned his lesson, but this seems like a pattern. And I think one of the only people that's probably happy that all of this stuff has come out It's probably Baker Mayfield. Like, I mean, he's got to be saying somewhere, smiling. So he's got to be while he's filming a commercial. Like, he ain't even on the thing. So I know he's happy.
He's like, y'all crapped on me.
Right.
No, look. Let me just tell you. I mean, this is no laughing matter. This is a real problem, man. And you know the sad part about it. The point got to be made with a very talented black man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part. But you know what? Hey, bro, don't cry no crocodile tears over here, please.
You did it.
First, you violated women.
Right.
And I know some of us, we probably think, well, man, some of these women might be lying. Okay, you're right. They may be lying. But here's the thing. When are we going to ever support women who are victimized in any way? Like, we have to stop trying to be conditional with our protection of our women.
Yeah.
I just don't get that. Like, you violate one woman, it's too much. Like, if you rape one woman and you never rape again, bruh, guess what? You're a rapist.
Right.
It just comes out like some things you raped a woman. If you violate a woman, and even though it's not as aggressive as rape, it's still a violation because women, I mean, we don't know the history of some of these women, of any of these women. They could have been abused. They could have been violated before. And so this can be a very triggering thing. And so I know some people say, well, he's 60 and let me just share this with you, this little nugget of wisdom too, folks, that out of all the women, according to the reports, let's throw the second piece up there, and then I want to get to some of these. I want to get to some of these comments. But according to the reports, here's what Judge Robinson said. She said, despite having access to team-provided and approved massage therapist, Mr. Watson sought out private massages, and according to the NFL, used his status as an NFL player as a pretext to engage in a premeditated pattern of predatory behavior toward multiple women.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another food for thought. 24 women filed civil suits against Watson, accusing him of sexual misconduct during massage appointments. By late Sunday night of this week, he had settled all but one of them.
Yeah.
The voice of the woman is always being silenced.
Absolutely. We live in rape culture here where it's okay. It's the woman's fault. It's always, what did she have on? What did she do? Why was she in the room? Like, none of that matters. At the end of the day, it is your control. You have the control to not do that. Assaulting somebody and violating somebody, it is not within your right, no matter what they have on. And I think that we need to do more of that and holding men accountable that, hey, this is not okay. And women as well, because there are women that test those boundaries. We need to hold people accountable. It is a no. Like, don't touch people. It is not on them.
Don't touch people. Don't expose yourself. Even in a massage situation, I know how men are with massage. Baby, let me give you a massage. And you think that's a pass to touch a woman? No.
Right. And in this case, he was exposing, a lot of it was him exposing himself to these women and asking for other things to occur, which if a woman tells you no, it means no. Like, I don't understand how many times do you have to get in trouble?
How many times? Did we lose Lise? Yeah. All right, look, we're going to get Lise back. Okay, we got her?
Yes.
Okay. How many times do we have to do what? You said have to get in trouble, or how many times do men have to get in trouble?
How many times do men, and especially DeShaun Watson, have to get in trouble in order to understand that this is wrong? I am not understanding.
Look, let me tell you something, and trust and believe. I don't care what nobody say. You can't. I don't care what you say, guys. You don't have to watch the show. I'm gonna keep it very real. The dude needs to get the full brunt of consequences. I'm serious. I don't want to hear that, man, you know how these women are. No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, but it's a lot of hypocrisy because I think at some point, if I'm not mistaken, Ben Roethlisberger had a couple of allegations and he played. And so these are things that the NFL has to do better with. I don't know, like I said, because they're still getting the money, the sponsorships are still there, if we will see that change, but I'm hoping that they will look at this and eventually hold these guys accountable, at least the people around them.
All right, let's get to some comments very quickly, and then we take another pause before we move on from this discussion. But folks, no, I'm not going with it. All right, let's see what here we got here. I think we saw Damon Bissett, my man Damon. Okay, yep. Damon, you mentioned as for the suspension, he missed last year as well. Yep. As far as everything else, he deserves all the clapback that comes his way. That makes no sense for what he was doing. Yep. Yep. Absolutely, Damon. I'm with you all the way, bro. Belinda, you checked in. These young men coming into new money have the same poor mentality that I have. Money, and these girls will let me do whatever I want to get me money. Yeah. Pretty much. Willie, my God, Belinda, thank you for checking in. Willie Frazier, my God, thank you for checking in. You said, Willie, there are two questions I asked the culture. One is asking for sex or crime. Two, what amount of money can settle the trauma of an unauthorized sexual act? Well, is asking for sex or crime? If you ask for sex from somebody who is willing to have to move forward in that activity, no. But if it's unsolicited, and I want to make sure I'm using the right words here, Lee, so you please check me if I'm not. But if it's unsolicited, if it's not what was discussed,
right?
You know what I mean? If the woman, and look, it's very simple. If the woman says, no, I'm not, even if she says, yeah, but I'm just not in the mood, that's a no.
Right. Right. No, I don't think it's a crime, and I'm tired of men playing the victim role. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, we've got to stop doing that. Stop it. If you are in a situation, a professional situation, and this is a massage, that is her job. You don't go to McDonald's and put your junk on the counter. You know that this is wrong. You don't do that. That is a crime. She did not ask you to expose yourself. And if you continue to do it, because he repeatedly was asking, that is a problem. So we do.
Hey, please. I'm glad you made the point. Let me just tell y'all what's another violation. Unsolicited pictures on via social media.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Don't send them. No woman ever said I wanted to see, like, no woman anywhere.
Unsolicited pictures. You don't just talk to a woman on social media and then pop.
Right. No woman wants to wake up and see
unless
that.
Right.
A floating one is not.
Bro.
No, a floating one with nothing attached to it is not what we want. Stop it. I'm going to hold a class one day. Stop it.
Unsolicited. If it's unsolicited, if it wasn't determined that that's the moment, that's the moment, bruh, read the room.
Right. And with the money part of it,
yeah,
it's not about the money, because you cannot negate somebody's trauma. Money is not going to take that away. So that's going to be individual about what actually needs to occur in order for that person to feel better. But money is not going to take that away. But this is a way for those women to be able to hold him accountable, because he didn't get prosecuted for this. So this is a way of holding people accountable. And I think that's what it's about. It's not about the money and getting the money and it'll make everything go away. It does not.
It's not. It really isn't. And even though all 60 women didn't come forward, doesn't mean that the other 20, they say 24 out of 60 came forward, whatever. But doesn't mean the 36 other women aren't violated.
Right.
They may have not found the personal strength to move forward in that just yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they may not have, because he has a pattern. And I'm getting, folks, and we got to close out on this, but this is a pattern. And that's the thing. Like, the man still even has a whole girlfriend in her family. So this is a pattern, folks. We got to understand that this is a pattern of behavior. Is this being like, oh, being self-righteous? No. But at the end of the day, like we know as men, we should set our own boundaries. If women have to say, well, if I say no, that means no, and all of that, as grown-ass men, we need to set our own boundaries. If a woman says no, if a woman says, I didn't ask for that, if a woman is not expecting that, then you don't do it. It's just that simple. Like, why is it that hard? Well, she knows she really wanted. You trying to rape her. That's a violation.
Say it again, Farajii, for the people in the back.
I'm dead ass serious. Like, stop. Like, we have a very real problem. And I've had this conversation with my wife, and I've had it with other women. Like, that's a problem. It's a man problem.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just put it all on a woman.
Right.
Why we can't control ourselves? Why we acting all out of character and being savage like, oh, I just need it. I just got it. Man, figure out something else to do, but stop wanting to violate women because you can't control yourself.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I have zero tolerance for certain activity. I have sisters. I have a daughter. Like, if it was your sister, your daughter, would you want some man to mansplain why he violated your daughter?
Right. That part.
Come on. Well, you know how it is, man. You know what I'm saying? She was in my face with it. Like,
right. That part.
Let somebody say that about your daughter, your sister, your niece.
Mm-hmm.
And check this very quickly, and then we wrap up. Let's be mindful, guys, of how the type of language that we use. You know, we see cute little girls be like, man, I can't, man, when she gonna be something when she grow up. That is creepy.
Right.
That shit is creepy. It is creepy. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's creepy.
Yes.
That is not cool. That's not cool. Nobody's looking at a 3-year-old and, oh, she gonna knock them dead when she. Where's your mind at, man?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, the culture is so sexualized, and I'm glad you mentioned it. We have such a rape culture that it is so infused in everything in our, even in our concept of manhood and womanhood, and it's creepy. And we have to have more men have to say, you know what? This is not cool. This is not acceptable. I don't care how much money you got, what your status is, none of that. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't get the bag. His ass should be working at Walmart. That's what it is. Boom.
You said it all. You said it all.
Get your ass out of, you know what? Get your ass out of the NFL because you can't control yourself. Bro, that's wrong. It's wrong. You're wrong. All right, look, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's check in with the happiness scholar, Dr. Courtney Alston, as we talk a little bit about why Americans aren't too happy right now. I can figure a couple of reasons. Stay with us. That conversation, it will be coming up as we move forward right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome to the second hour of The Culture here on the Black Star Network. If you missed the first hour, definitely go and check it out on the replay, because we always talking about that good stuff. Brittney Griner, DeShaun Watson, two high-profile Black athletes that are, whose future is under a place of uncertainty right now. Definitely check it out. All right, we wanted to switch gears and have a different conversation, because there are a number of people that may be experiencing this situation where you're feeling you're just not happy. Life seems to be burdening you. You feel like there's a weight on your shoulders. There's so much that we have to think about, so much that we have to deal with. And so we wanted to have a conversation about happiness. What does it actually mean? And is it a goal that we should all strive to achieve? Well, I know a sister that has studied what it means to be happy. She actually got a PhD in this study. She's known as the happiness scholar, and we're happy to have her on the airwaves of the Black Star Network here on The Culture, Dr. Courtney Alston. Good afternoon, Doc. How are you?
Good afternoon. Well, that introduction made me pretty happy there, Farajii.
First thing, you got a big smile on your face, so life must be good for you right now.
Life is wonderful. It is wonderful.
Good. All right, Doc, let's talk a little bit about happiness, because, this is interesting. I don't think, first, before we talk about this latest poll that Gallup has put out there, I don't think people understand that you studied happiness. And what does that actually mean? How did you get a PhD in understanding happiness?
Well, it's interesting. When I tell people I'm a happiness scholar, they say, what? What is that, right?
No, Courtney. Come on, Courtney. They'd be like, what the hell is that?
What is that? I'm like, oh, I never thought it would be such a pause when when people hear that, right? But yeah, my PhD is actually from the College of Journalism and Communications at the University of Florida, and my area of research focuses in on positive psychology. And so positive psychology is a scientific study of optimal human flourishing, and really the science of what we do well and how we build in terms of our resilience, in terms of it as it relates to life satisfaction. So yeah, I actually stumbled on happiness while I was working on my PhD at the University of Florida. And I'm so happy that I did, because it has taught me a lot in regards to not only as relates to happiness in terms of the research, right? But it also has been really fulfilling in regards to my own life as well.
Oh, well, and I'm so happy that you said that, that you explained that even more. So Courtney, what have you found in your research and in your study that about happiness? Because we often use that as the ultimate goal. I want to be happy. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking about relationships, we're talking about being in jobs, we're talking about just living in a certain place. The ultimate goal seems to be, I just want to be happy. And then we also play the victim when it comes to happiness by saying, well, what's wrong with just being happy? Because we make these decisions based on what we think will lead to our ultimate happiness. Is this the right way? Or are we kind of like working towards a good place, or does this take us into a much more place of uncertainty?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, Farajii, because when I'm talking about happiness and sharing different evidence-based strategies to help serve individuals and organizations, because much of my work is as a happiness scholar is actually going and helping organizations in regards to workplace well-being. But it's interesting, even when I'm facilitating those trainings and I'm being asked about questions as relates to happiness, I often share how, yeah, I'm a happiness scholar, but I'm not happy 24 hours a day, right? Because, things do happen. Life happens. As a matter of fact, my TED Talk talks about how really my happiness journey as relates to working my dream job. I'm a former television reporter and news director. And so how I worked my dream job in television in the fourth largest market in the country, being in Philadelphia, and how I became a widow 86 days of marriage. So my late husband and I were only married for 86 days, but together for about 7-8 years prior to that. And his death made news all throughout Philadelphia, all throughout the country, because of the uniqueness of how he died. He was accidentally shot by his business partner and friend, and he was killed right there in the store. And so I say all that to say is that when I share that, people go, "Oh my gosh, wow! So you were a young widow. You're a young widow." And I say, "Yeah, so I've gone through situations in my life, but what's so interesting, even before I became a happiness scholar, I learned how certain elements of my mindset really served me. And I learned all this through positive psychology." Now, what's interesting is here I am now, fast forward now 20 something years after my late husband was accidentally shot and killed. Here I am, happily engaged with a wonderful man and a phenomenal human being that I talk often about. And because he's just, Ken Lemon is just, that's my fiance's name. He's just a great person and great partner and great fiance. But the interesting part is, with the fact that I've had all of these different experiences, right? Notice how I can even talk about my present more positive, right? Or I can acknowledge the value in terms of my present. So what's interesting, when I tell people, no, I'm not happy 24 hours a day, because the interesting part is when I go through adversity or go through troubles, I become happier when I'm dealing with an increase in my positive emotions or having joy or having happiness, right? So it's almost like sadness, right? Having some of those dynamics allows me to appreciate and value when there's happiness. So I think that's important to share, because I think, when most people, especially when they see someone like me, because I happen to wear a smile, like, very easy. You
have a contagious smile, Courtney.
Yeah. Like, wow. And it's a big one, right? It's a very big one. But I think it's important for people to know what's behind that smile. Right? Yeah. Because it's very easy for me to paint the picture in regards to, all the wonderful things in regards to happiness. But I think it's also important that that picture shows the value in terms of when you have adversity or when you have hardships. And to be very honest with you, I value all of those different dynamics because they all make up levels of me. So when I'm talking to individuals and training different companies and organizations, I always talk about the value in regards to having some of those, negative experiences and how you can reframe them, right? Because I'm reframing elements of that in terms of serving as relates to building your resilience.
Absolutely, and it's important that we do reframe it. And I love the fact that to use the old cliche, you've been in communication, so you've heard it before, turning your pain into power, right? And using your pain for purpose, right? And I think that there's something very inspirational about that, because if we have experienced a lot of trauma in our lives, and I'm just saying that in terms of individual lives, there's almost this feeling like the God or the heavens is punishing us, is penalizing us. Why do things always happen to me like this? And why can't I just be happy? And then we start to look at other people, we start to go on social media. They seem happy and I'm not happy, and all of those things. And it's like, we have to put things in a proper context.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think the point that you just made about sadness, and I had learned this early in my adult years, that you can't have happiness without sadness. Like in life, the duality exists and they have to work together. So you won't appreciate the sunshiny days if it never rains. that whole, that whole thing. So how do we make sure, because we are in an age that emphasizes personal happiness. We are in the age that emphasizes that unless you have things, unless you wear a certain type of clothes, unless you drive a certain type of car, you're not happy.
Yeah. So
how do we balance those messages with the internal messages to get us into a place where we can be, as Beyonce said, we can be cozy in our own skin and to look within for our happiness and not look without?
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting you say that, because when you're talking about all the materialistic items, which are, great, right, in terms of, dynamics, but it's interesting. One of the things that I found, and one of the things I really value in terms of the research, is also the importance of meaning. What's meaningful to you, right? So, it's interesting because this morning, like every morning, and I happen to not be in my home. I'm actually preparing for a journalism conference that's happening this week in Las Vegas. And my fiance and I are both here. He serves on the board of the organization. And like when we're home every day, when he's off, he always surprises me with my favorite cup of coffee. And didn't stop him from doing that.
Wait, Courtney, did you pay for that? Is that a Starbucks plug? I mean, what are you doing?
Well, look, I'll try to hide it as much as I can.
But whenever I'm feeling down, I get my favorite cup of coffee.
But what's so interesting? That is meaningful to me, right? And some people say, "Oh, it's just a cup of coffee."
No, my wife is the same way. If I make her a cup of coffee, if I go to your favorite place to get her coffee just the way she likes it, it's like, you know what? I didn't make the wrong decision 10 years ago.
No, but think about it, how meaningful it is, because I'm like, oh, my fiance took the time out this morning, way before I got up this morning. Went, in this case, went into the, resort where we're staying, stayed in a very long line, right, to grab my favorite cup of coffee at my favorite place, right? But it's so meaningful because the fact of, first of him being present and knowing what I value, what I desire, but also as it relates to the fact that he did that and he continues to do that every time he's off. Before I wake up in the morning, on my nightstand just happens to be that Starbucks, in terms of that my favorite brand, that is a cup of coffee. And so it's really also valuing the meaning, right? Because it's not simply I'm just saying, oh gosh, it's the brand of the coffee per se, but really it's the meaning of the experience. So I think it's also important to reference, what are those really good positive experiences that you have in your life that are increasing your positive emotions in your life? For me, it's a cup of coffee, one of them. And it's also the value of knowing that. And so what's interesting is one of the things that I also like to share with individuals is being grateful. So it's not only the meaning behind, that favorite cup of coffee that I just mentioned, it's also the fact that I'm grateful. And that gratitude actually allows me to be present, and research supports it. It supports it in regards to helping us to lower stress. It supports it as it relates to, believe it or not, in regards to helping with our sleep. So when individuals tell me, oh gosh, I'm having, sleep issues, and I go, at night, you might want to start, counting your blessings, thinking about all the things that you're grateful for, opposed to, counting sheep that we, that's
yes. Come on, Courtney. Come on.
Yeah. So
count your blessings, don't count sheep. Oh,
count your blessings, and it's beautiful to do that. Absolutely,
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, I want to bring my culture crew into this conversation. Two dynamic women. We could join again by Lise Winnie, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast, and Iman Heath, who is an activist and an entrepreneur. Ladies, I know that in our internal chat, y'all was like, yes, happiness.
It was the gratitude part for me. I think people forget that part.
Count your gratitude. All right, Iman. All right, Iman.
You gotta be grateful.
Go ahead. So listening to Courtney, Dr. Courtney Austin here, Iman, what's going through your mind? Does it resonate for you? Because a lot of women and men are struggling right now in this country. around the idea of being happy?
So first of all, Dr. Courtney, your hair looks good. Number one. Just make sure you know.
We all happy about that.
It's happy when you're away from home.
So I think I would say definitely from my personal experience, being grateful would help us at least remember where we were and where we are now. At least I can say it from my journey as far as being an entrepreneur. I remember worrying and crying about not having enough clients to now it's like, dang, y'all, like, can I get a day off? But I'm still grateful that I'm this busy, because there was a time where I was crying and worrying like, dang, how am I going to pay these bills if I don't have these clients? And just stepping out on faith regardless, and then being guided through this journey the entire time without missing a beat. Like, it gets frustrating, and then sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, it's too much. But we have to be grateful. Gratitude eventually will come back to you. If you put the gratitude energy out into the universe, it will come back to you. But we just have to remember, we have to keep that in the forefront. Like she said, don't count sheep, count your blessings. It matters a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lise, what's your take?
I was just saying, like you said in the chat, I was like, I need me a happiness doctor. Where you get that at?
You take a mirror group.
Right. But I agree that gratitude, I think that's something that Americans struggle with just in general, especially with social media. And we're looking at all of these different people that it appears that they have more. And so we don't actually value the things that we do have. We look for all the things that we don't have. And so I myself need to really focus on that. So I couldn't agree more to really start being grateful and having that gratitude for the things you do have.
That is so important. That is so true. That is so true. This is why I wanted to have this conversation, because the Gallup had put out a poll earlier this year talking about the issue of happiness. And they asked, they say that American happiness hits record lows. According to this poll, and Keena, let's put some numbers up. Thank you, sir. It says in 2020, before the pandemic began, an average of 48 Americans said they were satisfied. There was a big drop in 2021 when 41% indicated they were happy with what was going on in their 29 different metrics. Now, what this data indicates is that nearly 2 years into the pandemic in the United States, there has not been any real recovery in how Americans believe things are going. It said when you break it down by aspects of life and policy issues, the same story emerges. Just 41% are satisfied on the 7 aspects of life issues measured consistently over the last 2 decades. And these aspects include quality of life, the system of government and how it works, and the influence of organized religion. That 41% is statistically insignificantly different from the 39% who was satisfied last year, which was lowest on record. Now, on policy issues, 35% are satisfied on the 16 areas measured consistently over the last 2 decades. Some of these policy issues include the nation's abortion policies, the policies to reduce crime, the state of the economy, and the quality of education in our nation. This 35% is the lowest ever measured. Because there are more policy issues than aspects of life issues measured, this means that on average, Americans are less satisfied with the way things are going than at any point in the last 2 decades. Wow.
Yeah.
And guess what? Here's the thing about this, Courtney, Doc, and Lisa and Iman. The thing about it is things aren't necessarily getting better on the policy side, right? We're still getting hit. And I'm talking about as Black people, especially for y'all as women. I'm talking about where we are in this country and our relationship to the rest of the world. Things aren't really getting better. So now it's even more incumbent upon us to find some levels of personal happiness, because based on this data, it's showing that you're not going to be able to find happiness in your circumstances or things outside of yourself. Doc, can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting because it's interesting because since the pandemic, I will say that being a happiness scholar has kept me really busy. Prior to pandemic, it was a conversation, but it's been a richer conversation since the pandemic has started, and of course during the pandemic, we are being faced with so many different issues. And I think it's important to recognize those issues. I often share with individuals and organizations the importance of, it's okay not to be okay, but it's also important to honor your feelings along the way. So we're dealing with so many dynamics as it relates to the pandemic and in regards to what all of those different issues have created. And so I think what's also important to share is that things don't happen overnight, right? In terms of being able to kind of get through. It's really interesting. I share a very interesting dynamic. One of my dear friends said this to me. She goes, if you think that, a vacation is going to help you from burnout, a 1 week vacation, it's just not going to do it. It's just not, you got to give yourself some time, right? And with all that being said, it's so important that we give ourselves I call it pacing ourselves throughout the process of giving ourselves that time to heal, to honor our feelings, but also to recognize, right, that, I'm not feeling very good right now, and thinking about what you can do that's going to really serve you, and honor. I always like to say, honor your feelings in terms of what you need.
Let me just tell you, and I might be wrong on this, sisters, but when people like I go on taking vacation, I'm like, that is probably one of the most stressful periods, stressful moments for me, because, when you're trying to shove children along, trying to make sure you got money in the account, you go to the hotel, make sure you got the deposit, which we got to have another conversation about. When you're dealing with money, okay, you got to check in, you got to eat food. Okay, what's the activity? Where's the part where you rest? That's the part I'm trying to figure out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be honest with you. Happiness is you wake up and you don't have nothing to do. That's just my happiness. You know what I mean? Like on a Sunday, I wake up, hey, you guys want to go get some brunch? Let's take a walk, take a nice little hike. Not having things to do. And I always thought, spending money, traveling all over the place, which is cool, but all of that's attached to that. Like, once you get to the destination is one thing. Getting there is the stressful part. So I always thought that was pretty interesting. People like, I love traveling. That helps me. But it's like either that, I don't know how y'all do it, because y'all probably have to school me on how to travel without the stress, because I get stressed.
But it's so interesting that you share that. I'm so glad you're sharing that, Farajii, because it's also important to mention how really there's no one size fits all, right? And so what can make me happy and what is my, puts me in my quote happy place can be different for you, right? And so, for friends. So for friends of mine who are, who travel for a living, they're just like, they're in their happy place constantly. I can relate to what you shared, because I stressed out about going through TSA, right. What's going through the airport, right? But it's important to recognize, one of the things I value in terms of positive psychology, we talk about really kind of creating your own experience, your own kind of like experimental process, I should say. So what does that look like in terms of experimenting with these things that you feel are going to increase your positive emotions, right? That may bring you joy and happiness and so forth, and saying, okay, well, like Farajii, the traveling doesn't do it, but, staying home and doing nothing that day does. Or it can simply be, hey, Dr. Courtney talked about gratitude, and I like writing in a gratitude journal. But wait, Dr. Courtney talked about writing. I use a gratitude jar, opposed to a journal. I like seeing my blessings continue to grow. And I will tell you guys a nice funny story. Again, I talk about my fiance all the time. So when my fiance and I were long distance, he actually gifted me. He created a gratitude jar of all the things he was grateful for as relates to our relationship. So it can. Nice. He's amazing. He's amazing.
I'm like dudes that be really doing it up real big. I'm kind of a hate on that in that respect.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's like you always, I'm glad my wife ain't on the show. Then I wouldn't be happy. You don't make me a gratitude jar.
But you see, it's all about finding really that happy medium for yourself. So honestly, I share, make sure that you're spending time assessing what's going to really work for you, and also giving yourself some credit along the way. Another great scholar, her name is Dr. Christian Neff. She is one of the leading scholars in self-compassion. And so it's important that, you practice self-compassion, because as you mentioned earlier about social comparison, going online, because really it's looking at everyone's highlight reel, right? In terms of all the wonderful things that are happening, but it's about practicing self-compassion with yourself in regards to how you're going to pace yourself in regards to, your own happiness journey as well.
Absolutely. Lise or Iman, y'all got any other questions for Dr. Courtney Alston as we talk about this?
Social media is my question. Do you think that social media has made, statistics even worse over the years as far as trying to have this picture perfect life and this microwave effect with society? Like you said, we have to pace ourselves, but we don't, to be honest. So do you think social media has created more of a negative effect than a positive effect on how Americans feel as far as
social media is an interesting dynamic, right? Because it has caused so much in terms of levels of stressors, right, for individuals in regards to, partly social comparison, looking, and also as it relates to body images, and there's so much other research that relates to that area. That area in terms of social media. But it's interesting, but social media can also serve as a value, right, in terms of how it can connect us, and especially during the pandemic, right, when we were all socially distancing, right? And I'm still getting used to that. I'm like, oh wow, I'm still socially distancing at great length, even though we've kind of loosened those restrictions. But it still connected us, because what's really valuable for us as human beings is having that human connection. But it's also important, I think it's very key, is to make sure that you're being very careful in regards to some of the things that you may be looking at and how you're receiving those images, right? So if you're finding yourself looking at Facebook or in a Facebook group or on Instagram in particularly, and you're noticing, I'm not feeling very good about myself. These are things that you need to really start to acknowledge, right? And to think about, okay, how am I going to go about, serving myself? It may be, I've had several friends do this detox from social media for some time. And in terms of, thinking about, I'm going to remove myself. But it's really important to think about how you are, receiving that information. And it's also really impactful to understand. That's why self-compassion, I'm glad I shared that a moment ago, because self-compassion is all about how you treat, we talk about compassion, how we would treat other people. Self-compassion is treating yourself as your own bestie. And so if your girlfriend was coming to you and saying, wow, this is really upsetting me, you would tell your girlfriend, you would protect her. And it's important that we think about internally in terms of practicing self-compassion to protect ourselves too.
Absolutely. Let me take some of these comments as folks are checking in. Janice Washington. Janice, good to hear from you. You mentioned, I think people are not well rested, nor do they eat foods that help them stay focused and full as well. So you bring up that point that, now let me tell you, I'm a Taurus, so happiness is food for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You want to make me happy, give me a good meal. You know what I'm saying? Then everything else just falls into place. I don't care if anything, it's like, the whole place can be burning up. But if I got that meal right in front of me, I'm just swinging my feet. You know what I mean? But no, that's a good point. Being well rested, because our minds and our bodies, we're constantly on the go. And, Doc, I think some of us tend to, we kind of come out of this culture where we're like, team no sleep. You know what I'm saying? I'm always grinding and all that. I used to be in that same place. Then after a while, I just was like, man, how stupid am I? Like, I had to really check myself, because I'm like, bro, why are you happy that you don't get an adequate amount of sleep?
Nap time is essential. Nap time is essential. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. If this show wasn't a time it would be on.
But that brings up a great point too about toxic positivity, because there's a lot of people that they go through, because that's I guess the question I have for, the doctor, like, it's a whole atmosphere that you can't feel any emotions, like no sadness, no anger, no, like there's a toxic part of you can't feel. How do we adjust with that?
Well, it's interesting because, I get a lot of questions about toxic positivity, and I'm so glad that, that conversation exists, because I think, one of the reasons I will say this is because there's always an assumption, right? When you talk about happiness, that is like it's devoid of any negativity, right? And what, in terms of what you were sharing as relates to toxic positivity, you can't, it's not healthy to have an existence where you're not acknowledging, when negative things are happening, or acknowledging your feelings as it relates to what you're going through. And so it's really important to make sure you do that. Now, it's interesting. One of the things I often share with individuals, and it's funny because one of my dear friends, she also talks about toxic positivity quite a bit. And that is the value of having positive relationships. And it's one of the reasons why I value positive psychology so much, is because it's not simply, hey, relationships, it's qualifying it, positive relationships, right? And so I often share with individuals the importance of how research supports how it can help as relates to building our resilience, helps with as relates to our support. And so I say that, so when you're going through negative experiences, that you can have really these great support systems, your positive relationships to serve you, that I happen to love calling my self-care squad. And so your self-care squad can really serve you in terms of helping you acknowledge when negative things happen, opposed to, just sweeping it under the rug, not seeing you, right? Because that can make you feel very invisible when someone is not acknowledging, your feelings. And I think it's important when you have your self-care squad. My self-care squad, I will tell you, is filled with quite a few. All of them are empathetic human beings that don't believe in dismissing, feelings, and also don't believe in just fixing you. We believe in empowering each other and listening to each other.
I love that.
And so, yeah, I think that will also help serve individuals if they're going through toxic positivity, especially if it's at work, or maybe it might be within other groups, right? To really make you feel seen, because that's really important, right? Being seen, safe, and supported.
Wow.
Let me tell you, a self-care squad. I love that. I love that. Seriously. No, seriously. I really do. Because summertime, and we had a conversation about this, your network, right? The people that you surround yourself most, like, if they are not empowering you, if they're not enriching you, if they, you have some wild out there and they're like, yeah, girl, I'm down for whatever, and it's like, you don't have somebody to bounce off ideas, or really, like you said, see you. Because sometimes our closest friends, they might have been friends with us since we were in high school. We're in our 30s and 40s.
They might low-key envy you. They
low-key envy you. But hey, Iman, what about the friends that don't see your growth?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they be like, girl, you used to like this, and you be like, girl, that was like back in high school. I'm in my 30s.
Right.
Like, girl, you used to like the dudes like that. Be like, girl, I went to 3 bad relationships with that type of dude. I'm trying to move the hell on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The self-care squad. I love that. Y'all, hey, look, to the online culture crew, self-care squad. We gotta have a self-care squad. I absolutely love that. Look, Doc, we gotta take a quick pause, but I appreciate you. How can people get more information about positive psychology and learning about how to make sure that they can really cultivate their happiness in light of and in spite of all the things that is happening around us?
Absolutely. Well, there's a couple of ways you can come. You've actually visit my website at drcourtneyalston.com, or you can listen to my podcast. I host a podcast called the Courting Happiness Podcast, and it's fueled by positive psychology. And it's all about helping individuals and organizations with workplace well-being and also building and developing their happiness journey too. So I hope I can, see you there. And again, my website shares a lot of great resources to serve you as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There it is right there, folks. Dr. Courtney Alston, the happiness scholar. Hey, Doc, we got some folks that are have tuned in online and they say, you got to bring her back. So guess what we're going to have to do? Bring you back.
Well, thank you. Well, look, hey, how about this? I am grateful for each and every one of you. So thank you so much for, making me even happier today.
Absolutely. And enjoy your time. We maybe circle back because we may just have to have a conversation about this year's NABJ conference. For those who don't know, Dr. Courtney Alston has been a reporter, a television reporter. She's reported news, a news director. So she has been doing communications work for a very, very long time. And she's still able to smile about it, even in spite of the craziness of the industry. So, Dr. Courtney Alston, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us and being so good for the culture today.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. It's been an honor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's talk. When we move forward, I know Lise was waiting for it, y'all. Let's talk about B-Day. Renaissance, the album, it has officially dropped. What are your thoughts? We'll have that conversation as we move forward here on The Culture, right here on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches! Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on that.
I love y'all. I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?
All right, folks, B-Day is officially here. Did you feel the earth move? Did you feel the tides coming up? And, well,
yeah, you know I did. You know I did.
Let's break the crew. Did you feel the hurtful? Apparently, it did, because Beyonce delivered another album, her 7th studio album to date, folks. And Renaissance is absolutely one of a kind. And Beyonce is taking the big risk of singing less ballads and taking us straight to the dance floor with this one. All right, let me hear the reviews. All right, first and foremost, I ain't even gonna get to Lise because she is like excited.
You know, I
yeah.
I want to know where Iman.
Lise, I checked you. I checked you online, yo, like the other day.
You saw the TikTok?
Hey, yo, check Lise. Hey, look, check out Lise Winnie online. Y'all follow Lise Winnie for real. Follow Iman, because let me tell y'all, if they let you in their circle, y'all gonna get an earful of content. I'm telling you, especially Iman. Let me go this way. Yes, Iman over there. All right, Iman, I'm gonna start with you. What you think of Renaissance?
So, first of all, press play. Her first song, That Girl, It Girl, put you in the mood. Like, from young. When I say on repeat, that's it for me. So 2 through 16, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling trendy. I'm not feeling trendy Beyonce. It's not a bad album because the sound, like the Afro beats and like the house voguing sound, that's appealing to, you know, some people. But I'm here for R&B Beyonce. Like, please bring back R&B Beyonce. Now, I get as an artist, you have to try different things, try new things. Wow. And I like and see, you know, the avenue that she's going into or went into with this album. But just for me personally, I'm not a fan of the sound. I want R&B Beyonce. Crazy in Love. Where you at, sis? Where's the bat signal? Wow.
That is interesting. That is interesting. Okay.
Buzz. You know I gotta do this over here.
Go ahead,
Lise. Did you see Lisa's wings started flapping a little bit? Just like,
yep. All right, with us right now? Go ahead, Lise.
Lise. No, seriously. All right. So, Lise, what did you think of this album?
I had to listen to it a couple times. I'm not gonna lie to you. As much as I'm in the beehive before I actually liked it. Now, I do like quite a few of the songs. I do like that Girl. I do like Cozy. I do like Energy. I like Plastic Off the Sofa. So there are some songs that I like on this album.
Pause, please. Pause. Plastic Off the Sofa. Mm-hmm. What did you assume it was going to be? Because I think it was going to be a story about your grandmother or something at church. I did too.
Okay. We had said that.
Okay, go ahead.
It was a little confusing when you were listening to it. Like, okay, this doesn't match, but we're going to go with it. But I will say that it's one song. It's like one song. Like, it doesn't end. Like, I was riding a stationary bike in the gym and I was like, wait a minute, it's been about 15 minutes. This song long as hell. And then I was like, oh, I've listened to 3 songs.
This must be the extended version.
The album version. And then I realized, oh, I've listened to 3 songs already. So the transitions are seamless. I will say that is phenomenal.
You mean they're so seamless, they're almost not there.
That is correct. Now, okay. I don't do dance music, so that's why I had to listen to this a couple times. I agree with them on. I am a big ballad Beyonce girl, R&B Beyonce girl, not big dance, but I know who this was for. She made this song for her Uncle Johnny, who is a part of the LGBTQ community. That's why this is very much sashay, you stay. It is very much that. And I was like, I give her all the props for being very inclusive. Now, she did have to change a word in the song because she said a word that they said was ableist. So she also, like Lizzo, had to go back in and change it. And Monica Lewinsky has now come out and said she wants her to change the lyrics she said about her. So I don't know. We're going down this rabbit hole. But
when will she start being offended? Because plenty of rappers have mentioned Monica Lewinsky. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Wait a minute, Yvonne. You said, when did she start being offended? Like, I was talking about she for 20 years.
When did you start getting upset? But okay, you know, Me Too movement, do your thing.
Wow. Monica Lewinsky can't have no heart. Is that what you're saying, Iman?
All I'm saying is, you've been brought up in raps and songs plenty of times. So now you choose to be upset. But, you know, teach his own.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she might not have known because she don't listen to rap. Maybe she listens to Beyonce. One day we got to have a conversation about Monica Lewinsky because I actually changed my whole perception once I read her. Like, it's a whole thing. But anyway, I will say that this is a hit. Not my favorite. B-Day, Dangerously in Love, still my favorite albums. But this is a hit for Beyonce. She's already #1 in 100 countries.
All right, so here's the thing. Here's what I've learned about it. Let me just say this. I don't care if it's a hit. You know what I'm saying? Because the metrics of whether something is hot or not, according to the industry, is different from how we as the listeners. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hot because everybody was expecting it. So everybody downloaded it. Everybody wanted to hear what she had to say. Tell me if it's a hit a week after it drops. Then we just be like, all right. That's where I feel like the real reviews are, right? Like give people like a week and then we go back to it. Like, for example, when people heard Drake, oh man, he #1. But then now we go back and be like, how many of us are bumping Honestly Nevermind?
You right.
Is that the one with all the emojis on the front?
No. Honestly, no. That's the last one he just dropped.
Yeah,
that was the one he just dropped like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, no. The one with the emojis all over it. Oh yeah, I still bump that.
No, no. It's a whole nother album.
Okay, then no.
Sorry, Drake. Sorry.
My bad.
Champagne Poppy. So sorry.
But it also was dance. It was also dance.
It's another dance music. It's another dance sound. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking. Let me just tell you, like, I'm not a Lizzo fan, but her last couple of singles were hot to me. Like, About Damn Time. I'm like, okay.
Love it.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Lizzo vibe on that, right? But I think that for these major artists to put out this sound that is categorically so different from what people are used to getting from these artists, either they're intentionally trying to shift the culture in a different way, but something is obviously happening, right? Mm-hmm. Something is obviously happening. Now, with Beyonce, I listened to the album with Nira, and she had the same thing. She was just like, it's not terrible, but she said it's her least favorite Beyonce album.
Yeah,
I agree.
And you know, let me just check the record. Let me just go to because so many people have said it just sounds like one continuous sound. Like sonically, there isn't too much diversity.
It's not.
And it made, you know, and Iman and Lisa, y'all know who it made me think about when people were like, I want the old Beyonce. It always made me think about Mary J. Blige. Every time Mary comes out with a happy song, Black folk, we always be like, man, that was all right.
When she talking about, baby, I need you crying. I need you upset in the studio, please.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be more than gorgeous. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want you crying.
We want heartbroken Mary all the time. You know? 20 years of pain, Mary. That's all we want. We want 20 years of pain.
Right. It's like Family Affair. Oh no.
No. We're not dancing in this dancing ring. We want you crying. We want you saying you ain't gonna take no more, Mary. That's the Mary we love. So I think that, you know, this was a very like to your point, Lise, this is a very intentional album. Like you said, for Uncle, for the LGBTQ community. Do you think that will isolate the rest of her fans moving forward? Now, this also is part one of a 3-part album series. Oh, you didn't know, Iman?
The second one.
Wow. Oh, wait a minute. So when's the next drop?
Wait a minute, time out, y'all. The album just dropped just like a couple of days ago. We already like, so what's the second one?
Like, this ain't it. Like, wait a minute.
Is that gonna be R&B Beyonce? Like, where's my album at?
I heard.
I was looking for Jay-Z on one of these songs. I ain't gonna hold you. I was looking for Jay-Z. I was like, so when I'm waiting for, yeah, B. And I'm waiting for that. And then I'm like, wait, this joint too dancey for Jay-Z.
Could you imagine Jay-Z?
Yeah, B. Yeah.
Oh, no. Not his flow. Not at all.
So yeah, so this is a three-part situation. All right, so back to my question though, Lise. Do you think this is going to isolate some of her fans? Do you think she's going to lose fans or gain fans? Where do you think this album would take people?
Absolutely not. Beyonce's true core Beehive is going to be the Beehive. They're not going nowhere. They're going to keep coming back for more. I don't think so. I think that this is just Beyonce being Beyonce. At this point, she don't need to make another album. She just can be her. And I think this is what she's doing. She's showing us her range. This is what I can do. Keep up, bow down. This is Beyonce. This is what this is.
For me, Iman, in terms of her messaging, very empowering. Like she said, I'm that girl, cozy. I read one review. It said that this is like her going back to talking about Solange and how powerful that bond is with her sister, that her sister helps her to be kind of cozy in her skin. I mean, are these new themes? These are new ideas that Beyonce have already yet to explore, have already explored, or, is this something new? I'm wondering, as an artist, how much more of herself does she need to reveal to keep the content, to keep the music sounding fresh?
I don't think it's anything new. I just think it's louder, like being more vocal about, your ego and being this type of woman. And even with Freakum Dress, she's just louder about it. Like Church Girl, lyrically, I love that song. Lyrically, yeah. I love that song. Like, you don't have to, just because you're a church girl or what they want to label you as, you don't have to be stuck in this box. You can be more than this box they try to paint you as. So she's just louder with her message. And I love her message. I definitely do the whole album from start to finish. I love her message, but just not the sound. But I just think she's loud. She's being a louder Beyonce.
Right. Now, here's the other part that I saw, because, as we talked about rap shit earlier this week, and, the rise of city girls. Megan Thee Stallion is coming out with an album supposedly this summer. Stop it.
She a hottie.
That's my girl. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why am I not surprised?
She got rep for the stallions, just us tall women. We got to.
Yeah. If y'all don't know, Iman is a tall woman. Iman comes into the room, you're like, oh, hey, Iman.
Are you tall?
I am 5'9" and some change.
Are you really? I thought I was tall. Okay.
No, don't let her put no heels on. Don't let Iman put no heels on.
6 feet.
She's 6 feet on these cats.
I got tall daughters, so I appreciate.
She's tall, man. But here's my question though. Like, looking at the way Black women artists are right now, the landscape of Black women artists, and I made this point just on Monday's show. I think a lot of young women, and I'm talking about even like 18, 21, 25-year-old young women, Black women, they're not rocking Beyonce. They listening to City Girls. They listening to Meg. They still listening to Hold It On. Depending on where Cardi is, they listen to Cardi. And it's like the landscape of women artists and the landscape of what women are listening to. Do you think young women are going to be empowered by this? Because the JT and Young Miami are saying something much differently than what Beyonce is saying.
They got them in a chokehold, Farajii. They did.
Say it again.
They have them in a chokehold. JT and Carisha, they got them. They got them in a chokehold. Mm-hmm. That's our new name. That's how she go by.
I always gotta say Summer Walker, because Summer Walker will have you crying, and Summer Walker will have you walk away from that NIGGA.
Yeah. That baby said, "Go ahead, let that go."
I'm still over it. I'm still over it. No, I get it. So I'm just, it's interesting, and I think, Lise, that should Beyonce be worried, or I mean, not really worried, but you know, she's kind of fading out in some respect, or is that not the case?
I don't think she's fading out. I think this is just the natural progression. I mean, did you see her? She's 41. Did you see her tits on that horse? Like, she is amazing. Like, Beyonce is not.
She's got some surgery. She's got some surgery.
No, we gonna.
I feel like it's the baby. She carried them twins. She did carry them twins.
No. Look. I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying. You're saying she didn't get surgery.
Call your backup, Lise.
I'm in the beehive, and I'm saying that is a negatory. That is negative. No, abort mission is what I'm saying. But I don't think Beyonce has to worry about anything. She's iconic. The girls want to be her. Like, whether they're listening to her music or not, they are taking her influence, they are switching it around, and they're reusing it. It's coming from Beyonce. She is the queen bee in this industry. And so I think that when people look at her fashion, they look at her lyrically, her songs have been remade several different times recently. She doesn't have to worry, but we do need some balance in the music industry for the younger generation. We need some balance.
All right, so and I was waiting to talk to y'all about this as we wrap up. What do y'all think about Khaleesi's claim that Beyonce took her? Yo, y'all faces were classic right there. I mean, both of y'all just y'all were like the eye roll, both in totally different direction. Y'all were like, oh. What do y'all say about that?
I don't.
Do you feel like she has a case, she has a point, or does she not have a point? All right, at least I'm gonna start with you on this one.
Yes and no. I don't hear it though. I was trying to do the code. I was like, somebody need to come out here and decode this. I don't hear the song, but whatever. My thing is this. Khalees has been fighting this for a long time with the masters. People have been saying, you need to own it. I was like, but y'all are out here fighting and telling Khalees what she needs to own. When somebody gives you money, when you don't have money, it's kind of hard for you to say, I won't sign this. Some of people out here who are saying it to her don't own their own house. They don't own their car because they have a loan on it. They don't own anything. But you're telling her what she should have done. Beyonce has, in the past, there have been some incidents when she's taken something not knowingly and used it without permission. That's why with Flawless, there was a whole issue with that and her using the voice that's on that song. So there's issues that have happened. So I don't think Khalees is 100% wrong, but I think this is not the time nor the place for you to come out here and utilize this platform. Your issue is with the Neptunes. Your issue is with Pharrell. Take that to him, because that is the issue. Do I think Beyonce should have came out? Because there's 3 different artists that said she didn't contact them. Probably. Maybe they should have sent an email, but it's not Beyonce's fault. It's someone else's. Your anger is displaced.
Beyonce, let me just tell you. I mean, this is too real. Like, Beyonce is not going to come out on any statement. Like, we hardly hear Beyonce in an interview, man. Like, seriously. And one of a brother who has been doing media for a very long time, he said there's a reason why we don't hear Beyonce in just a straight interview without it being very curated. Mm-hmm. Because she's not the most, when she speaks, she just doesn't come across as being the most knowledgeable person. And this is not any shade on her. I'm just saying people from her southern drawl to everything, it's just like, we see Jay-Z, he pops up on interviews all the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We don't hear that from Beyonce. Jay-Z will come clap back at you if you talk about his rap record. Mm-hmm. You don't hear that from Beyonce. She's and part of me is like thinking, Iman, like, has she kind of really internalized, like, yes, I'm the queen because when I speak, I only speak. You know what I mean? Like, has she taken this on by herself? And this is not a shade to her, but more importantly, it's like, how she presents herself, like, as a Black woman to another Black woman. Yeah, throw something on your Instagram post, say, look, Khalees, I wouldn't have done that to you. You know what I mean? Like, I went through the proper channels to get, the rights to use this song, to get the authorization. I wouldn't have done to you. Everybody claps back on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? But like, Khalees said this. Come on, Khalees. You taking my whole style. You know what I mean? Just say something. But Beyonce just don't respond like that. And I don't know if it helps her or it hurts her, Iman. What's your take?
ever since she stopped performing at the BET Awards, she has just been this upper echelon person. Like you said, I feel as though she has digested and accepted that she is Beyonce. She's at the highest seat of the industry. She is the president of R&B and music and working on country as well. So I think that's just her. Like, she just embraced, like, I don't have to do interviews. I don't have to show y'all that I'm this open, bubbly person. I don't have to give y'all this. But when she does, like she do her Netflix specials or her HBO specials and stuff like that, then she gives us
curated specials.
Yes, but she gives a piece of the inside. So I feel like she looks though, like you said, she's Beyonce.
But that's the key. I spoke with Dr. Matthew Knowles, her father, and he said that they are very.
I'm sorry. You did what? You spoke with him?
I interviewed him, and he's very, very calculated in how it comes out. Like he said, even there have been times like when the whole elevator thing went down, he was like, things are calculated. There are things, not saying that was, but things are calculated in order to get attention. And she's very particular about her brand, and rightfully so. So I think that's what this is. It's just being very, very particular. Her people are.
This is the part of it. You could be particular about your brand, but then you can kind of come across as being like you're better. You know what I'm saying? And there's a thin line. There's a thin line. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look. I mean, again, this is, but, and I think for us as the consumer, as people who make the culture, because we are the culture, that we have to say, okay. I mean, like, if it's a situation where, and I've heard stories, you can't take pictures of the sister. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, Beyonce. Like,
that's why I never down to earth. I love her, but I'd never want to meet her. I do not want to meet.
If I just say, "Hey, B, bop," somebody gonna hit me in my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you can't speak to her without signing this NDA. You be like, "Damn, bro."
Because I like the fantasy of thinking I know who you are. Because sometimes when you meet the people, they're a lot different than who you believe that they are. So that's why I wouldn't want to meet. If I meet her in Paris, like, trust me, I'm not gonna run across the street and be like, "Oh my God!" But I don't have to go out my way in order to do that, because I just want the fantasy of it. She's the queen. Leave her be.
I mean, and like I said, it's just about being approachable. And I'm just saying, this is not about her. I think that in this day and time, being a celebrity requires you to have some type of relatability to people, because guess what? We're the ones that are paying for your tickets. We're the ones that buying your album or streaming your albums. We're the ones that supporting your lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not saying it because I get it, because you are, you can't sign everybody's autograph. You can't take pictures with everybody. But if you saw Kevin Hart, if you saw The Rock, if you saw Jay, if you saw somebody, if you saw Denzel Washington, you know what I mean? Like, you just gotta understand where you are in this earth. You know what I'm saying? And I think just the culture celebrity has gotten so like spacey that some people start to embrace this idea like they can't be talked to. Oh no, you got to be of a certain place. And it's in this day and time, just saying hello to somebody. Oh sure, I take a picture with you. Makes all the difference in the world. It will make all the difference in the world. And that's why when the little small taste of being a local celebrity has done, it's like if a child said, "Hey man, can I take a picture?" "Oh yeah, adults, come on, take a picture." We see Roland do it. "Come on, man, take a picture. I'll hold the phone for you." Just little things. It just makes people feel like much closer versus like, "Don't take no picture. You can't sit next to me." You know what I'm saying? And like, come on, bro, come on. That's not good for the culture.
Right. Phoenix, you break my soul, and then we can dance it out. There you go.
Man, over. All right, ladies. Well, look, our time has certainly been very, very well spent. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, I thank y'all so much for all of your insight and just your amazing work. Folks, Lise Winnie, make sure y'all follow her. Check out her podcast, Millennials Anonymous Podcast, and all of her fantastic content. And Iman, she always got something to say. Trust and believe. Follow her on social media. She is very vocal about a ton of things, especially all things Baltimore. She is going to speak her mind. That's why we have her on the show. Lise, Iman, thank you so much, sisters, for being so good for the culture.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. I thank each and every one of you for being a part of the conversation. Man, oh man, I can't thank you enough. We celebrated 6 months yesterday, and we are moving into the 1 year mark, but I appreciate each and every one of you. Look, I know some of y'all were checking out my background, my minimalist background, Rashida. I see you, Rashida. I see you, sis. Now, we've been traveling around, so sometimes you just gotta make things happen where you are. But of course, we appreciate all of this, all of the love and everything, the continued support. Make sure y'all continue to show us love right here on the Black Star Network. You can go to blackstarnetwork.com and do your due diligence and show your support. You can support us financially, and of course, you can support us by sharing the content and letting people know. So thank you for the support that those of you who have already given. Even if you don't give us any dollars, make sure you share the content. Let your friends and family know that they can download the app free and they could be subscribers to Black Star Network for free. It's a beautiful, beautiful situation, a win-win for everybody involved. All right, stay tuned. Up next is Big Brother Roland Martin. He's checking in at the 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Peace.